On the news, Supreme Court declares dissolution of local government council illegal in Oyo and KATSINA states. House of Reps to probe 43 billion naira Safe School Initiative project. And NDLEA intercepts 781 grams of heroin at Nnamdi Azikiwe Airport. Glad to have you join us on News Now. I am Folashade Ogurinde. The Supreme Court on Friday said a dissolution of the local government's chairpersons and councillors in Oyo and KATSINA states and their replacement with caretaker committees by Governors Seyi Makinde and Aminu Masari was illegal and unconstitutional. According to the panel of justices of the Apex Court, the Oyo State Governor erred by dissolving all the elected council officials and replacing them with the caretaker committee and consequentially set aside the judgment of the Court of Appeal in Ibadan, which approved the sack of elected council chairpersons by the state governor. The sacked chairpersons, led by Ayodeji Abbas Leshin Laurier, had approached the court to vindicate them, saying they were illegally sacked. The Apex Court, in a unanimous judgment by a 5-man panel of justices, held that Governor Makinde acted beyond his powers when, on his assumption of office on May 29, 2019, sacked the chairman of the 33 local government areas as well as 35 local council development areas in the state. The Apex Court stressed that no governor has the constitutional power to illegally terminate the tenure of democratically elected local government chairmen and councillors. The Supreme Court has affirmed the judgment of the Court of Appeal, which upheld the deregistration of 74 parties by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. In February 2020, INEC deregistered the National Unity Party, NUP, and 73 others over poor performance in the last 2019 general election. But the affected parties sought to overturn the ruling at the Federal High Court in Abuja before proceeding to the Appellate Court. In the judgment delivered on Friday by Justice Adamu Joro, the Apex Court upheld the ruling of both courts, saying the deregistration was done in line with the laws and compliance with the extant provisions of the Constitution and Electoral Act. Now, Evans Ufeli, a legal practitioner, joins us via Skype to take a look at the issues. Thank you very much for joining us on News Now. What do you make of the Supreme Court's judgment on Oyo and KATSINA states?
Yeah, on the Supreme Court judgment on Oyo, it is quite clear from the outset that a governor does not have such right to dissolve a democratically elected persons and then turn the whole thing to a caretaker committee. Nigeria practice what they call democracy. And in a constitutional democracy, there are processes and procedures upon which people get into office. And these processes and procedures are laid down in laws, and they are in black and white. So anyone who introduces a process other than what is recognized by law will definitely have such action or inaction repudiated by the court of law, and that is exactly what has happened. People have to donate their mandate to determine who will lead them in every democratic engagement. So once this allegiance is collectively donated to elect a person, that person becomes the leader of the larger society. So, but where one man comes up and then dissolve that process and then create something very strange and pick people undemocratically and appoint them to lead their constituency without the mandate of the people, then that is itself an aberration. It is arbitrary. It cannot stand the test of time, and that is why the Supreme Court, with a strong language, have gone out to state the fact clearly that you cannot have such kind of arrangement in democratic engagement.
Now, let's talk about the deregistration of the political parties. Don't you think this is against the freedom of association of citizens and rights to take part in the political process?
Well, the deregistration of political parties, we have argued on several occasions that the Constitution, if you look at Chapter 4 of the Constitution, it gives the citizens that right to belong to any association. A political party is an association, okay, by law, on the eyes of the law. It gives people the right to have that, to, belong to any political party of their choice. And at no point did the law, even though the Fourth Alteration had a provision, if you want to see or thereabout, where INEC was mentioned as having the powers to deregister political parties. And that has been contested from the Court of First Instance down now to the Supreme Court. Now, the argument still remains that Nigerians, from the law that set out the fundamental objective and directive principles of state policy, that's in Chapter 2, and then the fundamental rights in Chapter 4. Specifically, the fundamental rights in Chapter 4 have made a provision for individuals to belong to political parties of their choice or associations of their choice. So whatever interpretation we are getting that was at variance with that, we aired our view at that time that no, you cannot stop people from registering political parties and belonging to political parties. But when you deregister them because of certain considerations, whether they don't have offices in Abuja, or they don't have a secretariat, or they don't have the requisite number, or they've not won election in any of the election conducted in the past or in the present, all those are administrative considerations we have argued that cannot supersede the outright provisions of the Constitution that the citizens have the right to belong to a political party of his choice or to belong to an association of his choice. So that has been the argument up until the court started giving judgment and counter judgment until we got to this point.
But certainly, would definitely have to leave it to the courts to settle this matter finally. But thank you very much, legal practitioner Evans Feli, for speaking to us on News Now. The 27 kidnapped students of the Federal College of Forestry Mechanization, Afaka, Kaduna State, have been reunited with their families. The students who were abducted in March were released on Wednesday after nearly 2 months in captivity. The Kaduna State Police Commissioner, Umar Muri, handed over the students to the school authorities on Friday. Muri said the students had undergone medical tests and found fit to be reunited with their parents. Moving on, the House of Representatives has mandated the Committee on Basic Education and Services to carry out an investigation into the use of over 2 billion naira released for the Safe School initiative alongside other donations from foreign countries and organizations and report back for further legislative action. The resolution was sequel to the adoption of a motion moved by Aneken Umana at plenary on Wednesday. While representing the motion, Umana noted that the Safe School initiative program was launched in 2014 to promote security, the safety of schools, pupils and students and teachers, as well as facilities. The lawmaker noted that not much is on ground to indicate seriousness to fully implement the laudable objectives of the initiative as it relates to the safety of schools, students, teachers and facilities. The Nigerian Senate has adjourned plenary for 14 days to enable the lawmakers proceed on Salah break. President of the Senate, Hamid Lawan, who made the announcement on the floor of the chamber, said the break would last for 2 weeks, commencing from May 6 to May 18, 2021. He, however, said the upper chamber would be holding committee meetings during the break.
On behalf of all the services, that is Chief of Army Staff, Chief of Naval Staff, Chief of Air Staff, and Director General National Intelligence Agency, NIA, Defense Intelligence Agency, on their plans of containing the present insecurity situation in the country. Thereafter, they answered questions from distinguished senators bordering on security, insurgency, terrorism, kidnapping, and other topical national security matters of interest to the Parliament. The Senate will adjourn for the Salah break, and the Senate will resume on the 18th of this month, and that will be a Tuesday. Before the 18th, we expect that our committees will still be working, particularly our committee, the Joint Committee, working on the Petroleum Industry Bill. We expect that the Joint Committee will be presenting its report to the Senate as soon as we resume. It is still our desire, our design and determination to pass the Petroleum Industry Bill before the end of May by the grace of God.
The federal government has set up a panel to probe the Nigerian Ports Authority under Hadiza Bala Usman. The senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity, Garba Shehu, disclosed this in a statement on Thursday. This is coming hours after Hadiza Usman was suspended as managing director of the authority. In a statement, Shehu said President Buhari had approved a panel of inquiry on NPA and directed Usman to step aside. The statement said the president approved the recommendation of the Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amici, for the setting up of an administrative panel of inquiry to investigate the management of the Nigerian Ports Authority. The panel is to be headed by the Director, Maritime Services of the Ministry, while Deputy Director, Legal of the same Ministry will sit as Secretary. Other members of the panel will be appointed by the Minister. The civic and media space in Nigeria has increasingly been restricted for many years. Freedom of expression, freedom of the press, freedom of thoughts, and the freedom of peaceful gathering, which are basic rights of every citizen, have also come under serious attack. To expose the abuse on freedom of speech and expression against the media, Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project (SERAP) launched a report titled "Something to Hide: Media Freedom on the Siege in Nigeria." Our correspondent Mujisola Matomi gives the details.
In 2019, Nigeria was ranked 120 out of 180 countries on the World Press Freedom Index. The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project (SERAP) says this is not a good record for a country where democracy is practiced. In this regard, the Human Rights Advocacy Group has launched a report titled "Something to Hide: Media Freedom Under Siege in Nigeria" to promote and sensitize Nigerians on the principles of human rights.
Nobody gives you your right. You fight and claim your right. As the late fellow Nicola Vokuti said, I never want that shows human rights. He said, human rights are my property. So therefore, you can't dash me my property. Our human rights are our collective rights. And so we need to claim them without begging for them. You can't genuflect to a dictator to give you your right. If I will mash you the more and walk on your head.
The critical problem is that those professional standards that Mr. Ipu talked about, truthfulness, objectivity, balance, accuracy, if you are in doubt, leave out, those citizen journalists, they are not guided by those principles. And the more frightening development now is that you find the mainstream media even taking materials from those citizen journalists without any attribution, without any double check, to make sure that the thing is authentic.
Stakeholders also identified the need to reform the National Broadcasting Commission Code guiding the practice of all media organizations in the country.
We must practice journalism the way it ought to be practiced today. When I was a reporter in the 70s, our editor would just come around 4 or 5 p.m. and say to the news editor, what story do you have today? He will give him a list. He will say, this one, front page lead, he marks it. This one, back page lead. This one, second lead, front page, the rest, put them inside. One man's decision is not good enough today.
There is certainly something to hide, and that's why NBC will continue to clamp down on the broadcast media. There is something certainly to hide. That's why the security operatives are always unleashed on the media. That's why Reporters Without Borders has released their World Press Freedom Index and placed Nigeria at number 120 against 180 in a democracy. We never had this experience during the military. It wasn't this bad.
We've seen the various actions of government, particularly by the National Broadcasting Commission, in the way the media has been treated over the years, and we believe that this is not in the best interest of Nigerians. While things may not look so good now, we believe that the government can do better going forward.
The media has been urged not to relent in its effort of holding the government accountable through the dissemination of verified reports and constructive criticism. Mojisola Matomi, TV360 Lagos.
A 23-year-old drug trafficker, Okwegwele Douglas, has excreted 59 wraps of heroin weighing 781.2 grams following his arrest at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency while trying to board a flight to Milan, Italy. Douglas, who hails from Edo State, was arrested during an outward clearance of Ethiopian airline flight number 910 at the boarding gate of the airport en route Abuja Addis Ababa, Milan, after being scanned, which proved positive for ingestion. According to a statement released by Femi Babafemi, Director of Media and Advocacy of NDLEA, the suspects claimed he has been residing in Italy since 2021 after entering the country via Libya with one of his uncles. He also confessed he was promised 2,000 euros if he successfully delivers the drug to Milan, Italy. The suspects swallowed the 59 pallets early on Saturday, May the 1st, 2021, with the hope of flying same day. Commander NAIA, Commander of the agency, Kabir Sani Sakua, said efforts still ongoing to unravel other suspects connected to the crime. Chairman of NDLEA, Mohammed Baba Moa, commended the officers at the airport command for their resilience and charged them, as well as other counterparts across the country, to remain vigilant, especially with the coming holidays, to ensure that no single grams of illicit drugs is smuggled in or out of Nigeria. Archbishop Ignatius KAIGAMA of the Catholic Archdiocese of Abuja has warned of a possible spike in the wave of insecurity if proactive measures are not instituted. KAIGAMA gave this warning at a press conference as part of activities to mark the 2021 World Communications Day in Abuja. The clergy is advocating a genuine and meaningful dialogue as a lasting solution to the security menace in the country.
We call on the government to do the needful in ensuring that terrorists are checkmated, criminals rounded up, bandits dismantled, and kidnappers put out of business. The proliferation of many forms of self-help security organizations is evidence of security deficiency. Government should open up discussion, debate and dialogue about the issues at hand across political parties, religious or ethnic lines.
The Archbishop identifies corruption as a major element in insecurity and calls for punitive measures against public officials who have the penchant for cutting corners and eventually found wanting. It wants the government to be firm in addressing corruption, give opportunity for major stakeholders to discuss security and implement genuine recommendations that will help the country.
The legislators, it's not just enough to be in the legislative house, that you must find time to go back and reconnect with your people. And you must hear from your people and bring their groanings, their sufferings, their aspirations to the legislative house. And it is not just enough to share the booties and the goodies that are around. Let us talk about genuine, positive, transformatory democracy and not military rule. We are yet to witness a concerted effort by the government to ensure that public officials accused of greed and graft are brought to book without delay or debate. What is more, the necessary loopholes through which monies are siphoned from the public treasury are yet to be plugged, giving credence to the assertion that there is no credible template created upon which the war on corruption is to be fought.
We take a pause here, but still to come, Nigeria Customs rakes in over 65 billion naira in April 2021. Now let's take a recap of some of our top stories. The House of Representatives on Thursday unveiled plans to investigate the utilization of the 43 billion naira Safe School initiative and other donations. We also told you that a 23-year-old drug trafficker, Opogwale Douglas, has excreted 59 wraps of heroin weighing 781.2 grams following his arrest at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency while trying to board a flight to Milan, Italy. In case you missed any of our news bulletin, for more updates, do log on to our website on www.tv360nigeria.com. You can also follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Google Plus at TV360 Nigeria. On Facebook, we're at TV360 Online. An anti-COVID-19 update and stories. Ghana has received its second consignment of the Oxford AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccines through the Global COVAX facility. The country took delivery of 600,000 doses of vaccines in February, and an additional 350,000 doses have now been delivered. The latest consignment was originally allocated to the Democratic Republic of Congo, but it failed to use them. About 850,000 Ghanaians have so far received a jab out of a population of 31 million. We take a break here and return with more stories in business. Just stay with us.
In the last 3 years, we have built a multi-purpose center, which is the envy of all in our constituency. And I can tell you that the people who are living there are already enjoying it.
Guy, do you think what this man just said is true? See, I seriously doubt. I'm sure it's one of those their silly lies.
And wait, do you know there's a way to find out if these things he's saying is true or not? This is the Construct app. It gives people like us a sure way to track implementation of constituency projects. It gives valid and verified information on location of projects, amounts allocated, amount funded, the level of job done, and even the profiles of concerned legislators. You and I can post directly on this app.
Are you serious?
This is the Go-To app if you want to know how our Commonwealth is being expanded by the government.
Wow. Let's even see if what this man said is true. Show me.
The Construct app is developed by Other Paper Nigeria with support from USAID and is available on both Google Play Store and Apple Store.
And it's true.
Of course, I told you.
Welcome back. Up next is business stories and stock market review with Mary Kanu.
Thank you very much, Falashadi. And now in business, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) has officially flagged off the rehabilitation of the 180,000 barrels per day Port Harcourt refineries with a completion date set for 44 months. Speaking at the kickoff meeting, which marks the handover of the facility to the contractors, the Chief Operating Officer Mustafa Yakubu said the project is scheduled in 3 strata, adding that the first phase will last for about 24 months. The $1.5 billion project, which was signed into contract on April 6, 2021, commenced on Thursday at the refinery in Eleme following the technical meeting with stakeholders involved in the project process. And the Nigerian Customs Service Apapa Area Command has announced revenue of over 65 billion naira for the month of April. That is an increase of 25.5 billion naira compared to the same period last year. This was disclosed by the Area Controller of Apapa Command, Ibrahim Yusuf, in a press briefing on Thursday. This indicates a 64% increase in collection and an unprecedented record that has never been achieved in the history of Apapa Area Command. Yusuf said in line with the provision of extant laws, trade guidelines and enforcement of government fiscal policy measures, the command was able to further strengthen its anti-smuggling operations against economic saboteurs through credible intelligence-driven operations. But we'll take a pause here and return with stock market review. Stay with us. The week ends on a positive note after a back-to-back run of losses as the all-share index closed bullish at 0.21% at 39,198.75 basis point. Market capitalization closed at 2431 trillion naira. Now, uniformly, the financial services sector witnessed a good trade week as Union Bank of Nigeria and Linkage Assurance closed top of the gainers list with 45 kobo gains, suggesting now that investors have confidence in this sector. Now, boosted by today's gains, market breadth also closed positive with 25 equities recording gains against 16 losers as the activity chart shows 238 million units valued at 2952 billion naira exchange hands in 3,947 deals. Now, inversely, the losers list sees NEM Insurance and Eterna lose 62 kobo to top the chart. Now, on the foreign scene, it is a second day of consecutive bullish runs for both FTSE, Dow Jones and Nikkei, as FTSE and Dow Jones are currently trading in the greens at 0.76%, while Dow Jones is trading at 0.38%. Asian stock Nikkei is also trading in the greens at 0.090%. Nikkei is trading in the greens based on economically sensitive sectors that are driving the market to its great heights. Well, that's all on Stock Market Review. Back to Folashade for the rest of the news.
Thank you very much, Mary, for bringing us up to speed on the latest in the world of business and stock markets. Moving on now to the foreign scene, convoys of troops allied to the opposition party in Somalia are currently withdrawing from Somalia's capital, Mogadishu, a fortnight after clashes in the city sparked fears of a return to civil war. The sudden arrival of the troops in the city in April led to clashes with pro-government forces amidst widespread fear that the country's political elites were pushing Somalia back towards the days of warfare and anarchy. President Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo has also been under international pressure to back down on his controversial plan to hold on to power for an extra 2 years. The withdrawal of the troops is a result of a new political negotiations aimed at resolving a bitter dispute over long-delayed elections. Well, up next is Entertainment Report.
Nigerian artist Shay Shay enlists fellow Afrobeat songstress Yemi Alade on a new single, Pimpe. Pimpe roughly translates from Nigerian street slang as hot lady. The song caused a heat wave on the record, with Shay Shay leading with a catchy hook and infectious verse. Yemi Alade's verse expands on the theme of the song, highlighting the struggles that come with being a hot lady, from unending attention to everything else in between. Pimpe is the first single from Shay Shay's upcoming EP, slated for a 2021 release. Nigerian music star Davido has gotten his daughter Imade Adeleke an early birthday present, and it's a Range Rover Sport. Davido showed off the early birthday present he got for Imade on his official Instagram account, declaring his love for his daughter via the post. Imade Adeleke is the first daughter of Davido, and she will turn 6 on the 14th of May. And that is all that we have for you in the entertainment segment of News Now.
Away from entertainment and now to sports, South African referee Victor Gomes, who allegedly turned down a $30,000 bribe from Plateau United to swing the result of their CAF Champions League against USM Alger in 2018, has been appointed as a center referee for the CAF Confederation Cup quarter-final matchup between Egyptian side Pyramids FC and Eyimba on May 16. The first leg of the knockout phase is scheduled for the Air Defense Stadium in Cairo behind closed doors, while the second leg is built for the Eyimba International Stadium in Aba on May 23. Gomez in 2018 reported Plateau United to the Confederation of African Football for offering him a $30,000 bribe to swing their match against Algerian side USM Alger in their favor, which he claimed to have turned down. Pyramids would lost the final of the 2019-2020 Confederation Cup season to RS Bakane, will be hoping to move past their Nigerian opponent, while Eyimba are aiming to move past the quarter-final stage, the position they crashed out last season. But that's it on our package. Thank you for watching. I am Fola Shadi. Have a great day.